Hello dear viewers and welcome to a new edition of the Daily Debate. I'm your host for tonight, Mohammed Abdulrahim. This year the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RECRE, is organizing the first annual event in Cairo to discuss the possible solutions and challenges that the world faces in the transition to clean and sustainable energy and the challenges of climate change. It's worth mentioning that the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RECRE, is a non-profit intergovernmental organization that is committed to advancing renewable energy and energy efficiency across 17 Arab countries. This year, RECRE presents the second edition of the highly anticipated Cairo Sustainable Energy Week, or CESW 2024. With shared values as advocates for renewable energy transition, the event holds immense potential. Tonight, we have the honor and pleasure to host His Excellency Dr. Jauad Kharraz, the Executive Director of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RECRE, to talk more and to discuss more about the role of the organization, about CESU, the Cairo Sustainable Energy Week, and about the challenges that face the world in this regard. A very good evening to you, Dr. Kharraz. It's a great pleasure to have you with us on Nile TV International.
Thank you very much. All the pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you, Dr. Kharraz, for being with us here on Nile TV. My guest of honor, Dr. Jauad, took his office on October the 3rd, 2021, bringing over 20 years of experience in various sustainable energy fields, including energy policies, wind and solar technologies, and green hydrogen, in addition to water management, desalination, water, energy, food, climate, nexus, and environment. As the Executive Director of RECRE, he leads the Secretariat in implementing its strategy. Prior to joining RECRE, Dr. Kharraz held the position of Director of Research at the Middle East Desalination Research Center in Oman. That was from 2015 to 2020. He previously also served as a senior expert advisor and evaluator for several international institutions, including the European Commission, the EU GCC, Clean Energy Technology Network, CAS Remena, Ocean Oasis, Comstech, Scientific Advisory Council, MECC1 Task Force, and member of International Desalination Association, European Desalination Society, and Oman Energy Majlis, or Counselor. A rich CV, really, Dr. Kharraz. Dr. Kharraz chaired and contributed to the development of many papers and numerous events worldwide. He obtained his MSc and PhD degrees in physics from the Department of Earth Physics and Thermodynamics at the University of Valencia in Spain, and a diploma in Enterprises Management and Strategies from Schema Business School in France. Dr. Kharraz is a national of the great brotherly Arab country of Morocco, and he's a graduate of the University of Abdel Malik Saadi. It's a great pleasure having you with us. So, Dr. Kharraz, allow us, please, and allow us, the viewers, first to watch a report about our main topic for tonight, and then come back and start our discussion. Please stay with us.
This year marks the launch of the Cairo Sustainable Energy Week, an ambitious new initiative organized by the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. Set to become an annual event, the CSEW will gather leading experts, policymakers, industry leaders, and stakeholders from around the globe to discuss the most pressing challenges and explore innovative solutions in the transition to clean and sustainable energy. Taking place in Cairo, the heart of the MENA region, the event aims to position Egypt as a key player in the global dialogue on sustainable energy and climate change. As the world grapples with the urgent need to reduce carbon emissions and shift towards greener energy sources, the CSEW provides a crucial platform for collaboration and knowledge exchange. The event will address a wide range of topics, including the integration of renewable energy into existing infrastructure, the potential of green hydrogen, advancements in energy efficiency, and the role of policy in accelerating the energy transition. Climate change remains one of the most formidable changes of our time, and the CSEW will dedicate significant attention to exploring how sustainable energy solutions can mitigate its impact. Discussions will also focus on the specific challenges faced by the MENA region, including water scarcity, energy security, and the socio-economic implications of the energy transition. Through a series of high-level panels, workshops, and networking sessions, Cairo Sustainable Energy Week aspires to foster partnerships that will drive tangible progress in the fight against climate change. By bringing together diverse perspectives and expertise, for a more sustainable and resilient energy future of the region and beyond.
Welcome back. Many thanks Habir Hussein and Rasha Abdul Hamid for this report. We're back here in the studio with Dr. Jauad Kharraz, the Executive Director of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RECRE. Dr. Kharraz, first of all, talk to us about the organization itself, the Regional Center, its role, its mission.
Thank you very much again for having me. Indeed, the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RECRE, started like 13 years ago as you said earlier, intergovernmental organization with diplomatic status based here in Cairo. The main mission of RECRE since the creation is to support the energy transition journey of the Arab countries in a way that we provide technical assistance to the Arab countries in terms of developing their strategies, their policies related to renewable energy and energy efficiency, and also promoting the investment of private sector in this area. So since its creation, we have been developing so many projects funded by different kind of multilateral donors and cooperation agencies, and we have been really supporting the Arab countries to develop their national energy efficiency action plan, their national renewable energy action plan. Also, we did a lot of efforts in terms of capacity building. You know, we need also to build capacities in our, not only the ministries in charge of energy, but also our national institutions. And also, we had done so many studies also related to, you know, for all the environmental and socio-economic impact assessment studies that we do for renewable energy projects, whether solar or wind. Also, we do a lot of feasibility studies and assessment studies. Also, we do the assessment of the markets in our Arab country to see where is the potential to invest in renewables or in energy efficiency. And also, we have been working, almost with all the economic sectors. For example, with industry, for example, in Egypt, we have been working closely with UNIDO to manage what we call Sustainable Energy Investment Fund, in a way that we do energy audits in companies or industrial companies, and to that way to improve the energy efficiency in the industrial processes. So this is in a nutshell, actually what we do. And obviously also we are considered technical arm of the League of Arab States Energy Department. And we have also a Mediterranean dimension. We are actually the co-animator of the Union for the Mediterranean Platform on Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. So definitely we play an important role. And obviously based in Egypt, in such a good geographical localization, we really play an important role in supporting the cooperation between Arab countries, but also the cooperation with other parties like the European Union and other international actors.
Perfect. Now, Dr. Jauad, I understand that you entered this field in 1998. That's what I understand. What made you, back then, it was not, in the news every day or in everybody's mind, renewable energy, clean energy, and so on. What made you embark on this field?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Actually, when I thought about doing my PhD in the Department of Thermodynamics at the University of Valencia in Spain, obviously at that time I wasn't really looking or thinking of probably I will work one day on renewables. At that time, I started my journey working with satellite data. I mean, working with remote sensing, as we call it. I mean, how can we use satellite data to estimate biophysical parameters that we could help us to understand better the Earth. We can understand, for example, desertification or drought, or we can maybe use this information coming from satellite to improve the monitoring, for example, of floods or the drought or forest fires, etc. So many applications. So, but with the time, I found myself really, I realized that actually all kinds of science are connected. So, science, data, water, energy, food, or agriculture, all are connected. And later on, a decade later, I was really playing an important role in promoting what we call water, energy, food, ecosystem nexus. What does it mean? This concept means simply that we need more coordination between these resources and sectors in a way that when we look for example, for energy security, we need at the same time to look at water security or food security, which means that we cannot work to ensure security of one element on the expense of another one. No, we need to do it in a coordinated way, and the decision makers and the players or the stakeholders in this sector need to work together. So whether it's decision maker or a scientist or an NGO or a research center or a private company. So that really was very interesting in my journey. After my PhD, it was probably the logical way is to do a postdoc, but then I found myself in an international organization based in France, working with 43 Mediterranean countries, trying to work to help ministries of water to manage better their water resources in their countries. And then I found myself working in very connected project because, for example, desalination needs energy. You cannot produce desalinated water without energy. And I found myself working on renewable energy and solar and wind. How can we power desalination plants or water treatment using the renewable sources? So everything is connected finally. I even worked, for example, in agriculture project, because again, to use water in agriculture, you need energy. So for example, solar pumping, we can use PV, photovoltaic, to pump water for agriculture. So at the end of the day, really, I feel very lucky to work in such many fields. They are, as I said, they are all very connected at the end of the day.
Indeed. Before progressing further, I just have a question that's interesting to me, at least. So, if you have I understand that you speak Arabic, French, English, and Spanish. Yeah. So, when you have a complicated problem, a scientifically complicated problem, and you want to solve it, which language you work with most between the four? It might be mixed, I don't know, you tell me, but which one do you go to first when it's very complicated, scientifically?
Yeah, no, a very good question actually. At the beginning I was really working probably more with Spanish because I did my PhD at the University of Valencia in Spain. But obviously science language is English, so to publish a paper or to analyze data, etc., we use English. So probably I look for English, but at the same time I can recognize or confess that obviously many times words or the way of thinking of Spanish or French or Arabic comes depending on the context, depending on the partners we work with or the colleagues or the team you work with. Sometimes you cannot avoid to use French words or Arabic or Spanish words.
Understood. Dr. Kharraz, I want to go to CESU, the Cairo Sustainable Energy Week. What are you expecting from it? We understand that this is an initiative by the Regional Center for RECRE. So what are you expecting from the Cairo Sustainable Energy Week?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yes, we launched the first edition last year. Our really idea is that our center, RECRE, I mean, has a regional dimension. We have been working, as I said, for 13 years supporting Arab countries, and we have a lot of success stories when it comes to promoting renewable wind energy, for example, here in Egypt with many other partners, obviously, in the Gulf of Suez, or Jabal Zayt or Za'farana, or we have success stories also in the areas of solar in Yemen, for example. We have many success stories also providing indicators, what we call AFIX, Arab Future Energy Index, where we assess the progress of our member states vis-a-vis their targets in renewables, energy efficiency, and access to energy, etc., etc. So we told ourselves that it's good to have one annual spot where really we gather the key stakeholders working in the areas of renewable energy efficiency and other related areas like green hydrogen or desalination with renewables, etc., where really we can discuss the main issues, the main challenges, and promote from one side success stories and good practices. The other side also try to find solutions for the challenges. For example, the access to finance. I mean, it's still a challenging issue. Sometimes we know we have the ideas, we have the capacities, but we don't have, for example, the funding or the financing. So the idea is to gather really the key stakeholders, which means that governments, even from the ministers and high-level representatives from the ministries of energy and others, international financial institutions, industry and private companies they play an important role. You know that all now the utility scale, you are talking about PPP, public-private partnership projects. So the role of private sector is very important. Obviously, the role of research center, universities, academia is very important, but also the role of civil society organization is important, youth, women, etc. So the idea is to gather all these stakeholders to get around the table. Obviously, media also, you play an important role in promoting, you know, the shifting to clean energy. So the idea was really to gather these stakeholders, discuss about the most challenging issues related to the energy transition or energy transformation, net zero. How can we decarbonize the different economic sectors? How can we make energy transition just and fair and inclusive in a way that it impacts our socio-economic development and also environment, I mean, protect our environment? How can this contribute to the creation of jobs? I'm
sure there are many challenges.
Exactly.
Now, many. One of them must be the funding. But I want to know from you, the expert, what are the major challenges facing us here in the region concerning the transition, the required transition?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. Actually, the region, unfortunately, because of, you know, the different geopolitical circumstances and also the economic context, which is not, I mean, obvious in the region, especially or mainly in the last years, it's clear that impacts the energy transition process. But to be honest, also to be objective as well, I mean, Egypt, I can say, Egypt, for example, is a pioneer or one of the, I think the leader in the region in terms of the energy transition, in a way that, there is a political will to push the energy transition process. There were many reforms at the level of regulatory framework and policies, at the level of the financial mechanism, which kind of incentives we adopt to attract or to encourage investments in renewable energy efficiency. But the challenges still remain because now, for example, everyone is talking about green hydrogen, for example. So obviously, we need continuously to do reforms in a way that to make it more attractive to the private sector, to the investors, to the off-takers, to push the investment and more investment in these areas. We need also to have improve our institutional setup or the governance of the sector. Obviously, we need also to tap not only on the local banks, for example, or local financing resources, but also the international finance. We have many channels, for example, the GCF, the Global Climate Fund, or others who we can address if we prepare bankable projects. So sometimes the challenges are about how can we, our capacity to develop bankable projects. Also some challenges are related to capacities. Some challenges are related to the technology, because still we are relying on the technology coming from abroad. So we need also to think about how can we invest in localizing technology to not depend entirely on the international market. So obviously still there are many challenges, but also I can recognize or say that countries like Egypt, like Morocco, like Jordan are doing some good steps to accelerate this energy transition. But still we need to do more because we have very ambitious targets. I mean, in COP28 in Dubai, all the countries committed to triple renewable energy. Double the effort of energy efficiency by 2030. 2030 is there, is 6 years or less. So that means that we need more renewable energy, for example. We need more investment in the infrastructure of the grid, etc. And we need obviously more investment in building capacities, in R&D, research and development, etc., etc. So there are challenges, but also there are opportunities, and I think we are on the right track. Just we need obviously more, we need to push harder.
So Dr. Kharraz, how can other member states in REC-RE benefit from the experience or the achievements of countries like you mentioned, like Egypt, Morocco, or Jordan? How do we, transmit the knowledge or the know-how? Or
no, this actually is really part of our core mission, which means that transfer the knowledge and exchange the best practices between our member states. So we organize, for example, several technical or study visits. For example, delegations from Libya that come to Egypt to learn from the Egyptian experience. For example, they visit the Benban solar plant or Aswan, exact. I mean, they visit also the wind energy project in the Gulf of Suez. We also show them, I mean, the financial setup, how this, succeeded in Egypt. I mean, all the reforms related to feed-in tariff or to moving to auctions and competitive bids that really accelerated the energy transition. So we do also the same with Morocco. Some countries also go to Morocco to see the Moroccan experience. We had Sudanese delegation here. We had a delegation from Tunisia here in Egypt to also show, because Tunisia have a very interesting success story in energy efficiency. So it's about this, about really showing the things that worked well, or the success stories that worked well here. How can we replicate this model in other countries? And also in terms of capacity building, we do also do regional capacity building activities where we have experts from different member states, and they exchange the knowledge, and we teach who really needs this knowledge. So definitely these are some of the activities that we do in this regard, but definitely this is really part of our mission.
Dr. Kharraz, before we take another break and watch another report on our main topic, I wanted to ask you, are there any plans to expand? Like, you have 17 member states now. Are there any states that you plan at REC-RE to invite, or are you planning to expand?
Yeah, it's a good question actually. Yes, when I joined REC-RE, to be honest, it was one of my goals really to include all the Arab countries, because we have 17, so we are missing 5 countries. But we are actually, as I said, the technical arm of the League of Arab States Energy Department. So somehow we work with other countries. So we work with all Arab countries. But as a membership,
even the 5
exactly, even the 5. But as a membership, we had some exchanges with the Omani government, with the Saudi also officials, with the Qatar in the past, before I joined. So on the concept, they are really very willing. But we are for example, in Oman, if I can give the example of Oman, they are restructuring the energy and the water sector in terms of the governmental sector and the private sector. So they told us, just please bear with us. We are finalizing the restructuring of the sectors. So we will come back to you, because we don't want really, because obviously all the government receive many requests from international organizations to be member of. So they are just in the process of finalizing this restructurations of the sector.
So you mentioned 3 of them.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Oman. Who are the remaining 2?
Remaining UAE. So UAE, actually, we have very strategic partnership.
That would be a great addition.
Absolutely, absolutely. UAE, they are doing amazing job. But UAE, they are hosting IRENA, okay? And IRENA is the global international, renewable energy agency. We have we have a strategic partnership with them. So they are doing our job at global level. So we don't want to duplicate, actually. So we need to convince the UAE that we are doing.
You complete each other's tasks.
Exactly. And then obviously we are missing Comor Islands.
Okay.
And then yes, I think the 5 countries are missing. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Kharraz, dear viewers, another report, and we'll come back and continue our discussion. This report is about Egypt's efforts in this field. And Dr. Kharraz himself, and this is an important testimony, said that Egypt is a leader in this field regionally and globally as well. We saw the political will. We saw Egypt hosting COP27 in November of 2022 in Sharm el-Sheikh, the great efforts that were done there. Egypt has a lot of agreements and partnerships and investment deals and memorandums of understandings with international companies in investment in renewable energy, and especially in green hydrogen. So let's watch this report, which talks about the fact that Egypt ranks second worldwide and first regionally as far as hydrogen projects are concerned.
Egypt has firmly positioned itself as a global leader in the green energy sector with an impressive portfolio of 24 hydrogen projects. These projects collectively represent $147 billion in direct investment, ranking Egypt the second worldwide and the first in the Middle East and North Africa region in terms of hydrogen initiatives. This achievement underscores Egypt's commitment to becoming a key player in the global transition to renewable energy and reducing carbon emissions. The nation's ambitious hydrogen strategy is a cornerstone of its broader energy transition plan, which seeks to diversify energy sources and promote sustainability. Egypt's strategic location, abundant natural resources, and strong governmental support have made it an attractive destination for international investors in the renewable energy sector. A key milestone in Egypt's renewable energy journey is the signing of 7 major agreements focused on renewable energy and green hydrogen. These agreements involve collaborations with leading global energy companies and are expected to further enhance Egypt's capacity to produce and export green hydrogen. The agreements also align with Egypt's vision to increase the share of renewable energy in its energy mix to 42% by 2035, a goal that reflects the country's commitment to sustainable development and environmental preservation. The 24 hydrogen projects span various stages of development, from early planning to advanced construction. They are designed to leverage Egypt's natural advantages, including its high solar and wind potential, to produce green hydrogen efficiently. The projects are expected to meet domestic energy needs, but also to position Egypt as a major exporter of green hydrogen, particularly to European markets that are increasingly seeking cleaner energy sources. In addition to the economic benefits, these projects are anticipated to create thousands of jobs, contribute to the country's GDP, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions significantly. Egypt's leadership in the hydrogen sector is a testament to its proactive approach to addressing global climate challenges and its determination to build a sustainable energy future. As the world's move towards decarbonization, Egypt's advances in hydrogen technology and renewable energy are likely to play a critical role in shaping the global energy landscape. The country's efforts are not only a regional benchmark, but also a model for other nations looking to invest in the green energy transition.
Welcome back. Thank you again, Abir, for this report. Abir Hussein, back in the studio with Dr. Jauad Al-Kharraz, the Executive Director of REC-RE. Dr. Al-Kharraz, you saw with us the report. So, in your opinion, what made Egypt's rapid ascent really to #2 globally in hydrogen projects? And you know, bearing into consideration the fact that Egypt's hydrogen projects align with the country's broader goals for sustainable development and its vision for a sustainable development in 2030.
Yeah, true. I mean, as I said earlier, I mean, Egypt really did a lot of efforts in terms of policies, reforms, and in terms of developing the rights, incentives, and the financial mechanisms to attract investment. In the report, they mentioned obviously the green hydrogen strategy. So Egypt has, not all the countries have this strategy in the region, so they have a clear roadmap and strategy of green hydrogen. Plus the geographic position of Egypt allow Egypt to be really, be potentially probably one of the best countries to probably produce and export the green hydrogen to the European market and other international markets. Plus, the reform that has been done in the past led to the most competitive prices of electricity coming from renewables, from solar and wind mainly. So this also is very attractive, advantage for Egypt, plus infrastructure. So the ports, the infrastructure of pipeline, etc. So this is very important as well. So if we think about exporting green hydrogen or derivatives like green ammonia, so Egypt has invested a lot in infrastructure. So all these elements make really Egypt potentially one of the best players in the era of green hydrogen. Plus, obviously, as you mentioned earlier, there is a political will, and Egypt showed clearly its this will. They organized the COP27 was really very successful. So very objectively, it was very successful, and there was a huge gathering where really Egypt showed the success stories, but also used this COP to attract really a big amount of investments, but also of MOUs and commitments and agreements in the green hydrogen area. Obviously, at the beginning, not all the project will pass to the second phase, but at least 9 or more will pass to the second phase right now. So there are projects to start producing or the goal to produce more than 20 million ton green hydrogen by 2030, probably even the double by 2050. So there are very ambitious goals. Even the goal of increasing the share of renewables by 2035 to 42%. We are talking now about achieving this goal earlier, like 2030. So all these elements is obviously attractive for the investors. So they need to see a clear policy, clear political will. They can see clearly that there is a regulatory framework and regulations that attract or are encouraging the investment. And there are obviously a lot of thousands of hectares for the renewable energy project that are supposed to power the electrolyzer to produce green hydrogen. The water is there also. We can easily build desalination plant on the shore. For example, just recently.
Right. Sorry, dear viewers, we had a small technical failure. We apologize. So we're continuing here with Dr. Jauad Kharraz, the Executive Director of RECRE. Sorry, Dr. Kharraz. Sorry, dear viewers. Proceed, please.
That's fine. So I said recently, also Egypt announced the launch of or establishment of a green hydrogen center of excellence within the Nile University. So that means really there are a lot of efforts done at the level of policies, the level of research, at the level of attracting investment. So this is really make Egypt positioned really, as you say in your report, the first in the region and probably the second worldwide.
Dr. Kharraz, Egypt also was the voice of Africa in COP27, was the voice of many countries who suffer from the carbon emissions and who are not emitting, who are not the cause for this, global warming, but who are paying the price. So there were calls for reparations, for compensation, for... What do you, in RECRE, do you have any role regarding this issue? A voice for the developing countries that suffer from global warming, although they are not the main cause.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Before talking about our role, one of the successful decision or commitment that has been made in Sharm el-Sheikh in COP27 was the creation of this, or the operationalization of this, the creation of this loss and damage fund.
Yes.
So really to compensate the countries that are not emitting or practically anything, and they are the most affected by the impacts of climate change, you know, the flash floods or the drought, etc. So it's clearly RCRI is committed to this role. So I mean, we obviously support our member states, and we have some fragile countries that also are the most affected by, you know, the temperature, the heat waves, and with the impacts of climate change in general. So we do really work closely with international financial institutions. For example, 2 months ago we were in Rabat in Morocco attending the GCF MENA Dialogue Conference, and obviously the GCF funds also, they are supporting, you know, adaptation project and mitigation project, and the idea is how can we support the countries that's most affected in our member states in Africa to prepare bankable projects that could also get a chance to get funded by the climate funds or the green funds, because it's about sometimes not only, I mean, you need this fund, but you need also to make possible to prepare serious project or proposal that are bankable. I mean, in a view of the banks or the international funding, it's a serious proposal. It has all the components of a successful project, so they give you the funding. So we really play a role in this. You know, we do also some capacity building activities in a way that we teach the officials how they can prepare such a project, how can make them bankable to get this funding, and where are the opportunities, so they are here and there. So all these kind of things we do actually to support these countries really to access to this funding, obviously to contribute to their sustainable development and make I mean them adapt to the impacts of climate change and increase their mitigation measures.
Yes, Dr. Kharraz, there is something you call in your field the energy mix. Can you tell me or tell our viewers what is exactly meant by the energy mix, the transition, I mean, from the traditional energy sources to renewable energy ones, and how will that mix look like a decade from now? What is the end goal plan? What is I mean, when will we have like 100% clean energy, or is that an impossible dream?
No, actually, yes, there is this dream, because we are talking about the 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2100, which is really seriously threatened. So because of what we see, and we are not doing that much to really save this goal. It's clear that we talk about mix of energy. I mean, each country of the region, at least, they are putting a goal in order to accelerate the energy transition process. So, I said in Egypt, for example, 42% eventually by 2030 instead of 2035. Morocco talking about 52%, etc. But the idea is not, I mean, stopping there, because the mix means that 42% will be renewables, but the rest will be still rely on fossil fuels. So the idea is how we decide in Dubai to phasing out fossil fuels, which means that by hopefully 2050, which is the goal set by many countries, the net zero by 2050, which means that by 2050 we stop fossil fuels, zero, and 100% renewables, like the goal of Djibouti. But obviously this is not an easy goal. We need a lot. As I said before, we need a lot of investment, a lot of engagement of private sector, a lot of investment not only in renewable itself, but also in the infrastructure, because if you don't develop the grid infrastructure to accommodate, absorb these renewables, you are doing nothing. So we need to invest in both sides. We need to encourage the R&D also, as I said, and localize the technology. So a series of measures we need to do really to achieve this goal of net zero by 2050. Because
economically, sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Kharraz, economically, are we going to be paying a lot of money now, but then we'll be saving money in the future? This is the idea that most of us non-experts understand. Is that correct? At the beginning, it's very costly to make the transition, but at the end, you will save a lot of money for future generations. Is that the right assumption?
Not exactly. We could say that, a decade ago. But now, really, to be honest, I mentioned that the prices of electricity from renewables become really very, very competitive. So, and the first time, I think, worldwide, 2023 registered, and the investment in renewables was higher than the investment in fossil fuels. Was, I think, $1.3 billion US in renewables vis-a-vis 1.1 in fossil fuels.
Interesting.
So this is a very interesting shift. And I hope this trend will continue like that. So it's clear that we show in many examples, many projects, that shifting to renewables, creates, an important job opportunities. It also has some very good social impact, and it's helped the country to decarbonize its economic sectors. And we shouldn't forget also what's going on around globally. For example, at the level of European Union, we are talking about the carbon tax or the CBAM.
Yeah.
So by 2026, probably it will be, active. So obviously, that obliges us to do more, because if we don't decarbonize our sector before that, for example, our economic sectors will suffer, because we are exporting a lot of things to the European market, for example. So if we don't prepare our economic sectors or our industry from now, we will be in trouble. Our industrial sector will suffer, especially the exportation activity. So definitely, the shifting now is clearly that is not that we are not talking about long-term goals. No, immediately we have an impact on our sustainable development, and this is a process that we are engaged, I think, since the decade, and it's a must, and at least our member states are committed, so there is no step back.
Okay, and simply or logically, at the end, this will be good for the countries that are not very rich in oil or gas or fossil fuel energy sources, right?
Absolutely, this is an opportunity for them. The countries that are not producing fossil fuels, definitely this is a good opportunity for them to be really on the same stage as developed countries, or probably better, because we have better conditions. We have more solar and wind resources. We have more potential to produce more from renewables. So definitely this is an opportunity, and we should really take advantage of it.
Dr. Kharraz, how do you expect CESIO, the Cairo Sustainable Energy Week, to address the socio-economic factors related to the necessity of energy transition in our region?
Yeah, this is an important aspect. So we definitely will delve into this during the Cairo Sustainable Energy Week, because everyone is talking about energy transition. Okay, some are hesitant. Is on the expense of what? Probably our economic development. No, we need to show that there is a positive impact on the economic sector, on the social aspect. So we have, as I gave an example earlier, that for example, some farmers suffer from the water scarcity, don't have water, but we giving them the opportunity to use photovoltaic panels. They can use water, and they can then develop an agricultural activity. So there are opportunities, and we need really to show that the energy transition is a process that will help us also. It will have a positive socio-economic impact, but also at the environmental aspect, it will protect our environment, and is positive, not only reducing the carbon footprint, but also it has many other advantages and benefits of our environments.
How is the region doing, in your view, compared to other regions in the world when it comes to transition, again, the speed, the efficiency?
Yeah. No, good question, actually, yes. I can start by probably where we are doing less. Energy intensity, for example, in our region is the highest probably worldwide. It's double the world average, which means that we are not doing that much in energy efficiency. So we need really more effort to improve energy efficiency in industry, in building sector, construction, in agriculture, in different economic sectors. So in this regard, energy efficiency, we are doing less than other regions, Latin America or Asia, definitely. And renewables, probably we are comparable, especially the countries that are in the lead, like Egypt or Morocco. So we are comparable, or even sometimes better than many countries in the worldwide. But in terms of energy efficiency, we are doing less. So energy transition is about the two pillars, actually, renewables and energy efficiency. So we need really to do more in order to really make the energy transition process in our region more successful than other areas, and also because we are competing in international markets. So we need to do more to be more attractive than other regions worldwide.
Are you optimistic for our region in the future, inshallah?
Definitely. As Executive Director of RCRE, I should, and I am really optimistic. I think there are lots of opportunities. There are some things that, many aspects that we need to improve and to do more, but definitely I'm optimistic. It's
been a great pleasure. I enjoyed being with you and listening to you, Dr. Jauad Al-Kharraz, the Executive Director of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RCRE. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining Nile TV International.
Thank you very much. All the pleasure was mine. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, dear viewers, for joining us on the Daily Debate. I'm Mohammed Abdelrahim, and this is Good Night.